o'clock, so whenever you want to get started.
Call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is consideration of March 28th, 2022 minutes. Are there any changes or corrections? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second? Is there any other further discussion? Do we need to take a roll call vote, or are we just? No.
Just a voice vote would be fine.
Okay. All in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. No old business, so new business. Case DR 2206, request for design review, CD Downtown Zoning District, installation of new windows at 432 West 3rd Street, Window World of Davenport. Petitioner on behalf of Tropical Beach Investment Company. Matt, do you want to explain?
Yep. So this is the building at 432 West 3rd Street. It's historically known as the Fick Building. It's a 3.5-story mixed-use building. So the ground floor is commercial with Abernathy and Doodads located on the 3rd Street side. And then the upper floors are apartment units. It is located within the West 3rd Street Historic District, which is a national district. So in making alterations to a historic building, you want to take into account the original character and integrity of the building. So today's application is to replace 4 windows on the building. The existing windows are a double hung style. They're located on a 3rd floor apartment. They're aluminum windows with the storm steel placed on the exterior. So the proposed window, just like the existing ones, are double hung. They're not tempered glass. The proposal is for white vinyl without a grid pattern. So this shows you images of what the building looks like from 3rd Street. So that's the south facade of the building. And then highlighted in yellow is one of the apartment windows to be replaced. So double hung, no grid pattern. The ground floor has more of a black window trim appearance, whereas the 2nd and 3rd floor, it looks like it's more of like a creamish white trim, and then those storm windows are like a reddish brown orange kind of color. So that's the 3rd Street frontage. And then this is the Scott Street side, so on the west elevation. And then highlighted in yellow are those 3 windows. So there's 2 that are flush with the building, then that one that projects out into the bay window. So the ground floor has a black trim around the windows, as well as the upper story, clear story windows are also black trim. And then the window units in the middle kind of have that reddish orange storm window appearance. So the image on the right, you could see some windows have been replaced on the north elevation abutting the fire station, on the upper floors with a black trim. So staff is recommending approval subject to 2 conditions. So the first one being that the replacement windows match the dimensions of the existing window openings. That way you can maintain the current proportions of the building. And then the second condition is that the exterior window color shall be black to match the 1st floor windows and replacement windows on the north elevation. So the rationale behind that being is that you have kind of 3 different window colors and styles going in. You have the storefront and some replacement windows that are black, the existing one that are cream and white with the storm reddish brown color. So we thought white vinyl would be introducing a 3rd color and style to the building. So the thought process was to replace them in black, and then just from there on out, as you replace windows, keep that black color. So that's staff recommendation.
Is there anyone here from Window World?
I am.
Would you like to add anything?
And if you could stand at the podium, sorry.
There isn't much I can add. The owner, Ron Franz, owns a bunch of properties. We've done a lot of work for him over the years. I already have the white windows in my warehouse. I didn't think there would be a problem because the place has so many different replacement windows that have already been changed. So I'm sitting on 4 white windows, never planned on having to go through this. So we've also probably had 2 price increases since we ordered his windows and signed him up. So for me to go back to him and order 4 brand new windows, black exterior, will add $1,000 to his cost. No, it'll be exponential because he's got to pay for the 4 I'm sitting on now also. So at this point, if you guys don't like it, I'm just going to walk away and give him his money back and eat the 4 windows. It takes me approximately 8 months to get a black exterior window. And in these times, half the time they aren't right. Now we wait another 6 months. This industry isn't much different than most industries in the last 2 years. It's all screwed up. So I'm old and tired and I'm not gonna fight anybody over this. That's my piece. We aren't gonna change any openings. We're gonna do a replacement window that fits where exactly the sashes are now. So no changes to the exterior. I could talk to the owner and see if he's willing to paint the windows once we put them in, but that's as far as I can go, really. Because I know Ron, he's very tight and he's not gonna, I don't think he gets a bundle of money for these rentals. So he's probably not gonna spend anything more, is my guess. I don't know, honestly. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
And I definitely understand wanting to keep with the black look as all the windows in the building eventually, I'm sure, will get replaced and you want it to look seamless throughout. So I understand the staff recommendation there and support that.
Do we have a variance for hardship?
Can you please speak into your microphone?
Do we have a variance for hardship? Hardship would be economic hardship. Just on.
I think you pushed this. Top one, I read. That's right. The white part.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Can we get a variance for hardship for this situation, or do we need to?
So hardship variance wouldn't apply in this case. So really it's at the discretion of the board on how they want to vote and recommend and what conditions they would like placed on there. So they can recommend accordance to the staff recommendation. They could add conditions or subtract conditions, approve or deny. So it's totally at the board's discretion.
Does he own this whole building? Like, is he, so he's, like, obviously he had to handle the windows when Abernathy's went in and doodads and all that and what color they wanted to paint. So he's well aware. Okay, I just want to verify that.
Maybe he forgot. Because he signed a contract
You
exclusively
need to
for
talk at the
white
podium
windows.
if you're going to talk.
Pardon me?
Because
I'm sorry.
when you talk, you need to talk at the podium so that,
Okay.
There's a mic in the ceiling.
yeah, it picks up for the video.
I would assume he did not know that they needed to be black, or he wouldn't have entered into a legal contract to buy white windows. That's all I'm saying.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
My name is Charlie Cushman.
Charlie, great. Recently I heard a definition of finding peace and freedom. And it's simply being too tired to fight anymore. So I can understand your point of view. Let me throw out an idea. Would it be possible to table this and to see if Ron would agree to paint the windows black?
Yes, you can make that motion if you'd like. That's an option.
Is there any hazard right now in terms of the windows being inoperable or?
I
Once again,
honestly,
please come to the podium.
I honestly can't answer that. I'm not the salesman who signed the contract with Ron.
Okay.
I'm the guy that pulls permits and does 90 other things. So I like your suggestion, and that's the only way that we don't eat $1,000 worth of windows. But I don't know. We probably do 6,000 windows in Davenport a year. So some are gonna fall through the cracks, and we can't get them all, and we gotta eat these four, I like that. Yeah, I like your suggestion.
Just so you
Especially-
are aware, that would be another month. Because this board only meets once a month.
You mean before you would have an answer to whether he could paint them or not?
If the board votes to table this, the next time it would meet would be in May,
Okay,
the fourth Monday of May.
well, I'm 64 years old, and I start at 6 in the morning, and the last thing I wanna do is come here at 5 o'clock. So I will probably, if you can't come to a decision today, it'll be Ron, the landlord, or someone else here in my place. So another month, I've been sitting on the windows for probably 2 months now, because we're 8 months out on installs. So, like I said, I don't wanna sound gruff or, I've got enough time invested in this to where, yeah, whatever you guys see fit to do, I'll live with. All right?
Well, I would ask or make a motion to table this for another month and see if Ron would be agreeable to painting those windows black.
I second. I would just add to, give him a couple options of either painting them or ordering a black one and dealing with the cost through you guys, just because I know once you paint it, there's also gonna be wear and fade, and those are gonna have to be consistent, whereas if it's just a black framed window, it is gonna withstand a little bit more wear and tear on it. So if he's open to either of the options, then I would agree
Okay.
to that.
Really, that's the only option. Because the windows I supply are painted in the factory. They're not a baked enamel cladding or anything. We spray paint them. So if Ron's willing to do that locally, fabulous. We have a lifetime warranty on our windows and a 10-year warranty on painted product for that very reason you just spoke of. Paint will fade. Ultraviolet is hard on especially black and dark colors.
I have a quick suggestion, and by all means, you don't have to do this, but if the board's going to want to approve black, it might be better just to approve it, and then if he wants to come back, because if he paints them black, he paints them black.
Okay.
So that way, you're not losing another month coming before the board to just get approved as black, whether it's painted or if it's a black window that's manufactured as black.
So then the motion would read, approval with the condition that they be painted black?
I wouldn't necessarily be specific to painting it black, just that
They are
black windows. And that way, if they're painted
okay.
black, they're painted black. If Mr. Franz goes with a different window that is actually manufactured as black, he could do that too. But that way, they're not wasting another month to come before the board when the indication seems to be that the board would prefer black.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. So the motion then would read, approve under the condition that they be black.
I think that would work.
Okay.
Is there a second?
A second.
Are there any other comments? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Thanks, Charles.
So, may I? So I can
You
pull
can
a
come to the
permit
podium.
as long as the windows are black on the exterior. Now,
Correct.
can I pull a permit, or do we still wait for?
If you will send us something from Mr. Franz or yourself that they will be painted black, then you can pull a permit, yes.
Okay, very good, very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Case DR 2207, request for design review, CD Downtown Zoning District, installation of a new banners through the Hello Lamppost Initiative, Davenport Riverfront Improvement Commission petitioner.
So the City of Davenport Riverfront Improvement Commission is proposing a new program called Hello Lamppost. It's an online interactive platform that allows individuals that are visiting the riverfront park system to interact with different elements such as lampposts, bench, fence posts. It's an artificial intelligence app. So people can scan the code or text to interact with the app. And it's really a tool for community engagement, wayfinding, public consultation, and tourism. So the image on the right is another community that's used this program. So they're affixed to lampposts throughout the downtown. And then that's a sample of what it might look like as you travel. So how it works is the city will pick an object. So it says pick an object, look out for any street object with the QR code on it, or find the yellow sign. Say hello. So scan the code and send the message via just a standard text message, a Facebook Messenger, or through the WhatsApp. And then you can communicate with it. So it says you'll soon get a ready from the friendly object. Keep chatting to learn about the area and provide opinions and feedback on its questions. So this phone on the right just shows what a sample conversation would be. So you might text something like, hello, lamppost, and they'll say, good afternoon. You're new, aren't you? Can I ask, what would you change about this area? So then you can respond back how you see fit. So
Use Matt's voice.
some more cycle parking in the city would be cool. So they might respond back. Great idea. 40% of the people in this area support something similar. So you could, it's a way for the city to get more feedback on how it can improve and interact with the community. So the pilot program would feature 20 signs placed throughout the riverfront, and then they can swap locations throughout the summer too. So this is really just kind of a high level recommendation for approval. So the final design, we're just asking that the commission authorize city staff to approve the final design and exact locations, but that you approve the overall concept for the project. And the reason for that being really is we're at the end of April. So if we wait longer for more detailed designs, we're starting to miss out on some of that summer and tourist time.
So is
Nice.
it just,
Did I sum that up pretty well? Okay. Yeah.
You want to add anything else?
I'm not used to being here. I'm usually over there staffing the Riverfront Improvement Commission. My name is Steve Ahrens, and I am the staffer for Davenport's Riverfront Improvement Commission. Thank you for your time. I thought Matt did a great job with that. A few things that I want to add, essentially, is that this is a pilot program that we have entered into an agreement with this firm called Hello Lamppost for essentially 2 years. And so we realize that it's going to take probably that long, or at least the initial year to get off the ground, to get folks to even understand what some of this is all about. And to that end, signage is the main means here, but of conveying that message. But there'll also be, an online sort of explanation of this. What we're trying to do, it is an interactive tool, we're not trying to replace anything else, but we're trying to say, when we have a whole litany of scheduled events, you know, along the riverfront, activities, you know, special concerts, what have you, we have a website, a landing page, of course, but we're just trying to think outside the box of various other ways to reach people, to reiterate what's going on. And this is a pretty exciting sort of, you know, modern age kind of way to do that through either texting or a QR code. That it's interactive in that it's on our side, we're pre-thinking about the conversation or how it's going to go. And it's typically, through their research, Hello Lamppost staff tells us that there's about 4 or 5 back and forths that might happen, you know, in that communication. And so here's how we're thinking to use it. For example, we want to be able to promote, you know, the calendar of events. And so someone might be at a concert and wonder about the next one, or something else going on at that same venue or an adjacent venue. And so we envision having, you know, a little bit of that back and forth, but then ultimately get them to that, you know, that website calendar that they might not otherwise go to on their own. Secondly, and a kind of even more interesting from a feedback standpoint, is we're always interested as a community and as the Riverfront Improvement Commission on the riverfront in feedback. And so there's, you know, they call these objects. So not to confuse you, because when I think of an object, I think of the bench or the actual lamppost, but these are sort of objects. There's 5 of them that we've purchased, and they can be changed out from time to time, these conversations. And so the calendar's one, a survey of what folks would like to see, or maybe how they would like to be part of it, is another. The other 3 relate to, you know, perhaps Freight House Farmers Market's very big draw. So what's going on there specifically, because it's happens 3 times a week, and there's lots of activities. Local historical interest, sorts of information, and, you know, vistas, best viewing points. There's some fun stuff that we can do, and that ties into the area sort of adjacent things to do. Don't forget that we're welcoming some 52 plus stops between Viking and American Cruise Lines at River Heritage Park this year alone, and it's growing in even 2023. It is not uncommon for many of those passengers to not be part of the land bus tours. Sometimes they go at it alone, much like if we were to take a cruise, we might at port say, what time am I due back? You know, we're gonna go on and explore the community on our own. Well, you know, obviously some signage along the River Heritage Park area all along the riverfront, reiterating some of those kinds of things, what's open, what's to do, specials for, you know, a visitor, that sort of thing. I don't want to delve too much in that. I feel like I need to explain, you know, a little bit of that background. And so initially, as Matt alluded to, we're thinking about 20 locations. I, much like you all, presume this about you, we don't want to gaudy up any area, especially the riverfront, with signage. I mean, frankly, this is already a bit of an expensive undertaking just for the contractual content interaction with Hello Lamppost. But the signage is an additional cost, but I think we have to be willing as a community to make that investment so that things aren't stolen real easily, right? Or thrown in the river. These, we could easily go get yard signs. This is the very thing, however, that we try very hard to regulate, right? I mean, to try to not gaudy up places. And so I'm cognizant of that being part of the city operation, and we've met to discuss that. So one of the ideas, keeping in mind it's a pilot and hoping it takes off, but the idea I'm formulating, even though there's a larger expense to it, is using banners, and so that way, even if this, say, wouldn't take off, I don't want to be thinking in those terms, but we could always then use the hardware, and place various banners that, that investment would allow us to do. So it's not like and promoting the riverfront, promoting things to do, that sort of stuff. I fully anticipate this will take off and that we will see, some of these banners, and then also, I think there's, some I call mobile signage. So I envision affixing, the sign that you see that, something fairly basic it has to be because of the interactivity or getting people drawn into it. I fully see, having those, but just every so often, when you talk about 20 locations from the Channel Cat at Lindsay Park all the way and including Credit Island, that's not a whole lot of signage. And I've kind of gone back and forth a little bit with our partners with Hello Lamppost. They said that typically, in a space like this, you'd probably have about double that. Well, one, it's a budget issue, and it's a lot of money, a lot more money than I thought for banners. But two, I don't really want to gaudy up. I don't want there to be every lamppost, a sign like this. I think I've got it mapped out where, a couple in each of these park areas, if you will, a couple around the channel, a couple where we know people are going to be and maybe disembarking at River Heritage and along Centennial Park and around the Freight House and, LeClaire Park, and then, here and then several yards away, another one, that kind of thing. So again, signage critical to it to get people on site signage to get them knowledgeable what's going on, but then there's going to have to be a sort of educational marketing program along with this that we're ramping up. And so it's not, it's just that, yes, as I think Laura alluded to, it's upon us, we're here at the end of April. And so, we're trying to balance getting the information put together, the content established, and the signs printed, and not have it be the end of summer to miss the window. And so, I don't know, I don't want to drone on and on, but are there any questions that I could maybe talk about or talk further about with regard to this initiative?
Is it really just kind of promoting like the summer events to start, like
Yes.
concerts in the park and
That's
farmer's
absolutely
market and all
true.
that?
Yeah. I would say it would extend through the, fall, less so in the winter. I'll probably to spare these banners, try to take them down in the winter because they'll get more weather than more use. We do have eagle watching. I certainly don't want to try to convey to not use the riverfront all year round. That's what I spent all the time trying to promote, with events and eagle watching, whatever. But the likelihood is they're going to weather a lot more in those 4 or 5 months than the value of having those out. So I'll probably pull them in. Yeah.
Did Hello Lamppost give you like any metrics on usage? Because typically things like the text messaging or QR codes, we're kind of inundated with them. They're everywhere, and they just fall by the wayside and people ignore them. Right. So I'm curious if they gave you any metrics.
We have, as part of the program, the back end of things, the analytics part of it all, and we'll evaluate that, and that's why I'm calling it a pilot program. If we find that it's not, after giving it a good shot, after giving it, some, we would set it up to fail if we didn't promote or educate folks on it. That's why I'm also saying it's not the end all be all. This is not to replace, but only to enhance all of our community awareness or marketing of things to do along the riverfront. It is just one more. If we find that, it's already old, technology, then we're not too thick into it or long term into it.
How long is the pilot program?
The 2 years.
2 years.
And you plan on just doing pole banners right now?
Sorry?
You're planning on just doing the pole banners right now? Not any other, just
Yeah,
paper?
so I would say there's a couple mobile ones, I'm calling them mobile, so let me explain that a little bit. So affixing a sign that is like the banner, I mean, the sign that would look like this, but to a sandwich board or something, so that I can take to various events. So if I'm at an event and I'm introducing the event or the band or whatever, I like to promote, you know, what's coming next. Join us next time if you like that, you know, that kind of thing. I would have that with me on site, you know, mainly because I'm too cheap to leave sandwich boards around. I wouldn't want, you know, that those would walk. So, but I envision having a couple that would be placed in mobile fashion. So even, you know, at the farmer's market would be a good example. It, you know, it has a beginning time and an end time. We would have those out just to help expose people to the project or the initiative. So, yes. So there would be some variation
Yes.
in those like those examples.
But it wouldn't be permanent, correct?
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. If I invest in the banners,
Yeah.
those are permanent in the way that the banner hardware, I mean, my research is showing it's almost 3 times as much for the banner hardware as it is for the banner itself.
Yeah.
And so that to me suggests that's an investment that there are going to be banners at some of these locations for a while.
Yeah.
Whether it's these banners or not, that's to me an investment. But I feel like it's worth making. It's also something that I know Farmers Market and some others have talked about generally along the riverfront as far as banners. I think we were looking along River Drive at that point, but I still think that this is a, you know, where we have decorative ornamental, you know, light signage or whatever. By the way, you can place these signs anywhere. Like you might even, well, we're showing what we have, but there's a couple areas even of what I have envisioned that don't have a lamp post per se in the immediate area. And so in that case, you know, a little flexibility to be able to entrust that we're not going to gaudy it up. I'll give you a tangible example. At the Channel Cat dock area, if there's really, when I've gone down there, there's not something immediately adjacent, you know, and we're set to get that a replacement, probably another construction year away, where the dock will be replaced and there'll be an overhang, you know, covered so you won't sit out there in the sun and bake. But in the meantime, the affixing of a sign on the fence where you walk through to get to the dock, or on the restroom building, you know, I don't really know of another area that's has some foot traffic near it, because you obviously want it near where there's travel, and an actual lamppost. So I don't want to like leave you totally with the impression, you know, that it's all lamppost, because that's also the name. By and large, that makes the most sense. Banners up high, you know, then no one's going to damage or vandalize, you'd think, or technically. But there will be a couple occasions that they're either mobile or what I just described.
Are they pretty much the size of like the long, narrow, like big
18 by
signs?
36, I think, is the general. So they're not huge banners, but they're not the small
Right.
ish ones either. 3 feet by.
They'll be smaller than the ones that are usually on like 3rd or 4th Street or 2nd
don't
Street,
know
like
what-
during like parades or.
I'm trying to think what the size, I don't want to tell you wrong because I don't know what those sizes are, but I feel like these are the standard ones. So if they're about the standard size, then it would be
Like
about
that.
that. I know they come in multiple, like, I feel like that's 18 by 36. I know
Okay.
that. I don't know, some of the others might veer off from that. I know up on the hilltop, they're like half that size. They're like very small, but I also need the ability of it can't be so far away that you can't get the QR code to work or see the texting, you know. I'd be like, oh, I can't see, you know. Yeah. To like zoom. It's not a bad idea.
Just get 20 of them, yeah.
Right. And take a couple minutes to have everybody try it out, maybe, you know, that you're not wrong on that. Just
Not entirely a captive audience, but almost.
well, I mean, they don't hear the music until they do maybe the little activity, the pre-show that I have for them. No, I mean, obviously we want to get the word out for people to enjoy what's going on. It does no good. It serves no purpose to have an event that you've spent a lot of time on and 10 people show up when 100 could have. And everyone always says, even with this, they'll still say, I didn't know about it. I get that. We're in those times, sensory overload. I totally understand. I feel like I need to do more to help get that information out. And once I feel like we've gotten to that point, then I'm like, okay, we've done all we can. But this is one more step in that direction.
Just to make sure, there's no advertising sales involved in this by any company or any,
No,
okay.
no, good question, and thank you, because I should have made mention of that. No.
Okay,
The only
thank you.
logo that'll be on there is the commissions at this point. You know, if it takes off, not on a private scale, but I do envision, making sure that partners with like Visit Quad Cities, you know, the Downtown Partnership, some other direct partners with the city, you know, ones that we've talked, more than just talked to, but that we could expand the program if it is proven to be expanded worthy, you know? I do envision that, but we're not any way, shape, or form to promote businesses. The only piece that's even close to that would be tenants, you know, like what I mentioned earlier, things to do on a landing page that's already out there but it would not, I see that as indirectly tied. I mean, they're tenants that are already tenants of the cities, you know, already, you know, Freight House, for example. And we're not leading off with that piece anyway, but I do envision having things to do. Well, naturally, you're going to send them to, you know, their site, or at least a site that then someone could further click on and go to that.
So it'd be like a
but-
link to the pops.
Right,
in the park.
exactly. I mean, but nothing beyond that, no.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'd move to approve.
Any other comments? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thanks for coming out. That's everything on our list, so.
I do have one item. We sent out, the city is having all board members fill out and return a financial interest disclosure form. So I have some extra copies here. If you haven't turned one back to Laura, just come stop by.
I was
after the
actually gonna
meeting and-
ask that. I was like, is this a scam? And I wasn't gonna do it until I talked to you in person.
Laura got hacked.
Yeah, everyone in the entire city has to do it, elected officials, staff, board members. So they updated the policy at the beginning of April. And really, it's just to make sure that they have something on file for everybody, whether you do have a financial interest or not. It has to do with purchasing policies for the city of Davenport and some state law. So they just need to have it on file. I know I've got a couple of them in, so if you can disregard if you've already turned it in. If some of them need actual hard signatures though. So if, I think it was that, somebody might have turned one in that needed an actual signature. I can't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. I can't remember. So go ahead and fill it out. We'll take care of it from there. And if you have any questions, I might be able to answer them. And if not, I'll get you in contact with purchasing. Because I don't know.
All right, great. Everybody have a good night.
And break.